Texas fans, recruiting is over for 2015. You can finally get off Twitter, unfollow all those suckers that decided not to commit to UT, because we're here tonight on special College Press Box Signing Day show to tell you about the ones that did decide to become Longhorns. Stay tuned. (9 p.m. Central Time, February 4th here in Austin, Texas. And Longhorns fans can finally breathe a sigh of relief. National Signing Day is all but wrapped up. Charlie Strong's first official recruiting class is signed, sealed, and delivered. All the faxes are in. One step closer to putting that T back in Texas. Jeff Barker here tonight with you on College Press Box's special Signing Day show. Time to introduce our special analyst tonight. First up, we have Peter Sblendorio. Peter, how's it going?
It's going great, Jeff. I'm glad to be here with my bros to welcome some more bros into UT on the Longhorns football team.
Yeah, that'll introduce our other two special analysts tonight. Joining us from afar, it's Reese Miller and Harry Hoffman. Fellas, how's it going?
It's going great, man. It's going real good. Couple 5 stars, and let's ride, man. Let's get this thing going.
We're ready to ride. Back to you, Jeffrey.
Well, maybe only one 5-star, fellas, but. So Texas recruiting class pretty solid for Charlie Strong's.
Yeah.
First official one here came as the head coach in January last year. Didn't really get a full chance at recruiting. Solid first class. Anywhere between 8, 9. I've seen as far down as 13. But guys, we're going to start out with grades overall for this class. Peter, start with you.
All right, I'm going to go with a B+, okay? And I know everybody wants the A, but I'll tell you, if I can get a B+ in every one of my classes, I'm graduating with honors. So sign me up for that. I think with this team, with this recruiting class, you get 1 5-star consensus, and you get about 17 4-stars. That's usually been the general ruling is 17 4-stars. So I see a lot of quality and a lot of quantity, and that's really important for a team that kind of rebuilding, coming off a 6th and 7th season. Charlie Strong was able to get out there, get a lot of players. I think it's an A if they're able to get at least 1 more 5-star and join the ranks of USC, Alabama, Ohio State. But I think just the quality and the quantity makes this a B+ for me.
All right, Harry and Reese.
You know what? I'll give him an A-. I like Peter's point that another couple of 5-stars would have put him over the top. Maybe a Dalen Mack, obviously a Kyler Murray. But look, this is a real solid class for a team that went 6 and 7. I mean, Charlie recruited his tail off. Guys like John Burt, who he got able to come back, Ryan Newsom, P.J. Locke. He did a great job today. I think it's really, really solid. Add a couple more 5-stars, and it's obviously a top 5 class and an A. But I'll go A-.
I'm right there with you, my man. Great minds think alike here. And I was going to give the A, but of course we are at the University of Texas, and up to a 94 is still an A-. So fitting we're going A- here. I think the main thing to talk about here is coming off of a 6 and 7 season with 5 blowout losses, several of them being at home, and let's face it, really no recruiting momentum until that final week before Christmas in December, when finally things started rolling with Cecil Cherry committed, at Malik Jefferson, DeAndre McNeil. Until then, you're looking at a 15 to 20 type of class, and really no recruiting momentum from a new head coach, which usually sparks that just a little bit. So I go A- here, big boost, met a lot of needs, especially on that defensive side. The only thing keeping me from an A is a couple of big-time players, like you guys mentioned, 1 more 5-star, and the quarterback position, only 1 quarterback, possibly 2 with Matthew Merrick. I think that's a need that this team might have missed out on just a little bit, but still solid A- grade from me.
Okay, so we got 2 A- over there, Peter. They think great minds think alike.
Yeah.
I think on this side of the studio, great minds think alike.
The reason we're sitting here at the desk, right?
Yeah.
These guys are standing up over here.
Hey, we're going to take on this side of the desk, we're going to take the realist approach. I'm going to give them a B+ as well. I think they could have done a little bit more. I know Charlie Strong made a late push on some guys that he probably didn't have a great chance with. Didn't really get any of those guys. It was good for him to get Chris Warren, get Ryan Newsom to flip from UCLA back to Texas. So I'm going to give him B+, and that's going to lead us into, we're going to look at some strengths and weaknesses of this class. So, guys, we'll start with you over there. Maybe give me one strength, one weakness each from this that you see from this class.
Oh, you mean the guy standing over here? The guy's not at the desk.
Yeah, we wanted to give you a chance to talk first over there,
No,
Phil.
I appreciate that, Jeff. I appreciate you kicking it to the guy standing over here in our lonesome. Biggest strength of this class for me, defensive secondary really stands out, but it's got to be linebacker. You're talking about guys like Cecil Cherry, like Malik Jefferson, the number 3 outside linebacker, and the number 3 inside linebacker, according to ESPN. And a position with Jordan Hicks, Steve Edmond leaving, a lot of the guys that have been staples for the last 4 years on the 40 acres moving on. Weakness for me, and I know we'll talk about this a little bit later, still the quarterback position. I think this is a spot where you only needed depth, but you also needed a big-time player, and maybe Kai Loxley is that guy, but I'm not sold just yet.
Yeah, look, obviously the weakness here is the quarterback position. You lose Zach Gentry to Jim Harbaugh in Michigan, spells trouble, and then Charlie really saved the class with bringing in Kai Loxley, a guy. We'll see. I think he's got good stature. I watched a little bit of his tape. He can throw the rock a little bit. So I'm not too worried. Maybe 2-3 years down the line, he could start for this Texas team. And obviously the strength is the defense, the linebackers. The top 3 guys in this class: Malik Jefferson, Anthony Wheeler, and Deshaun Elliott. These guys can straight up ball. And Charlie's, bringing this defense. Last year it wasn't even his guys, and it was a top defense in the Big 12. It's only going to get better from here on out. They're going to be good.
Yeah, considering Charlie Strong's track record and background as a coach, no surprise that he's getting all these defensive guys here. Peter, what do you think? One strength, one weakness?
Okay, well, I'll start with weakness. I'm going to go ahead and make it a bartender round of weakness at quarterback. I just think that if they could have gotten one more guy that could really solidify themselves as a starter within the next 2 years, no doubt, that'd be huge for this team. That's all they're missing. I think they're a quarterback away. I do like the fact that there's competition now, though, okay? As far as a strength, I'm all in on the back 7 on defense. I'm all in. You guys talked about the linebackers, okay? But how about Deshaun Elliott and Devontae Davis at safety? And how about Chris Boyd and Holton Hill at cornerback? I mean, those guys are all 4 stars. They can all play. And I think 2 years from now, you might be looking at your Texas Longhorns starting secondary right there from one recruiting class. That's huge.
Yeah, we're going to get to this later. Probably a lot of guys that could come in and play right away with the exit of a lot of big-time guys on the defensive side of the ball this year. So I'm going to go with Reese on this one. Reese, we're actually going to agree. I'm going to go linebackers are the strength. My weakness, I'm going to say O-line. Texas got some good O-line prospects. Would have liked to see, considering how much they struggled last year, do a little bit better with that. Now, guys, real quick, before we go to break, we're going to talk about maybe one kind of underrated player that people aren't talking about a lot in this class. Pete, we'll start with you.
Okay, you guys might not like this, my colleagues here with me, but how about Ryan Newsom, the commit who is with UCLA? He flipped this morning to Texas. He's small. He's only 5'8", but he's very, very quick, and he could open up some things on offense with some more non-traditional sets, some more non-traditional lineups, something that we kind of wanted to see from DJ Johnson before he fell off the map. I'm all in on Ryan Newsom.
I saw a little bit of eye rolling over there on the other side of the studio. Harry Reese, what's going on? What do you guys think? Underrated guy.
I'll go with Cecil Cherry, inside linebacker, 6'1", 230. Man, I really just like the willpower this guy has. I think he's going to be the first guy in the gym, last one out. Really going to get to work. Really wants to be a part of this Charlie Strong defense. Watch out for him, kid from Florida that Charlie recruited. I think he could be a good one.
Yeah, Peter, I'm certainly not all in, as you put it, on Ryan Newsom from Alito. I'm still not sure the guy even really knows where he wants to go to school, to be honest with you. But I'll take Kirk Johnson, a little bit of an underrated, one of these backs that kind of got lost in the shuffle things, who's been a Texas recruit for a long time out of San Jose, California. 6'1", 200 pounds, kind of reminds me of a little bit smaller Malcolm Brown with a power run game. And, running backs are a dime a dozen, and with the recent struggles Texas has had, they need that depth and some explosion. I think Kirk Johnson can bring that next season.
All right, I'm going to say Gilbert Johnson, 3-star wide receiver, who hasn't been making a lot of noise with John Burt signing, with Ryan Newsom signing, a couple other good wide receivers, Armani Foreman, Lorenzo Jobe, freshmen right now that are already getting in there. I think he's 6'4", 190 pounds, can go up and get the ball at his highest point. Nice red zone target for Texas. I think he could be a guy that could come in and play right away.
Yeah, they need some help at receiver. He could be one of them for sure.
We're just getting rolling right here with our College Press Box special signing day show for you. We'll be right back in just a few minutes. Back here on College Press Box's special signing day show. Thanks for joining us tonight. It's Jeff Barker, Peter Sblendorio, Reese Miller, and Harry Hoffman with you tonight. Now, guys, we talked about it a little bit at the beginning. We gave grades. On the other side of the studio, the standing crew gave 2 A-minuses. Peter and I here at the desk gave B-pluses. We thought we were a little more realistic, Pete.
so.
But guys, obviously this is a big class for Texas. Charlie Strong's first official recruiting class. A lot of people talking about this could be the class that maybe gets Texas back on the map. Maybe this is the best defensive class that we've seen at Texas in the last couple of years. So Reese and Harry, we're going to start with you guys on the other side. But how quickly can this class as a whole make an impact?
Yeah, Jeff, thanks for, first off, sharing some airtime with us over here. We really appreciate it. And, you know, I think this class, some of these guys are going to be able to start right away. I look at a guy like Deshaun Elliott, who I think there's a need and a gap at that safety position. Some of these cornerbacks as well, Holton Hill, Chris Boyd, these guys can take a big step in right away. And we already mentioned the loss of Jordan Hicks, of Steve Edmond. Guys like Cecil Cherry, Anthony Wheeler, and Malik Jefferson, I believe, can step into those roles and compete right from the moment they're on campus. So those are a few guys that I really look to make an impact right from the get-go.
Yeah, I think defensively this class can really start even in the fall. I think on offense, you look at a guy like Devonair Clarington, 6'6", 230, tight end. Dude's an absolute monster. I think he can help out with whoever's at quarterback right away. Blocking, catching the football, red zone presence. This guy, I really think he's the real deal. And defensively, Reese mentioned all the guys. I mean, these guys are going to come in and fight for playing time right away, which is going to be good. They're going to learn really, really quickly. And, you know, maybe when they're sophomores and juniors, they'll be playing like they're seniors. So you know, I really like this class.
Peter, are you as optimistic as these guys?
I think on defense, there's some serious potential for guys to play right away, especially at linebacker. I have to agree with you, Reese. Jefferson and Wheeler are 2 guys. They're going to have an opportunity to fight for a job from day one, I think, with Steve Edmond and Jordan Hicks leaving. We've already heard about how Jefferson's impressing in practice. These are the Longhorns' top 2 recruits. They fill a position of need that could be filled immediately. I'm looking for these guys to possibly play day one.
Yeah, I'm buying in that this class could be the class that turns Texas around. And maybe not just because of how talented they are, but because of how much it seems like they're really buying into Charlie Strong's program. And it seems like Charlie's just getting started recruiting Texas. He, if you look at it, really didn't recruit Texas that well. Got out-recruited by someone as far as Texas goes. Got some guys stolen by USC, UCLA, right. You know, Florida State, Alabama schools, you know, all around the country, the powerhouses. But I think when you look at this class, these guys are excited to be a part of this. You know, he's working his Florida pipeline. I think these guys can make a difference, and I think they can really, as our guy Reese likes to say over there, get the train rolling.
No, I think so too. And I think that even though he didn't land some of those 5-star guys in the state of Texas, they were definitely on his radar, and they were guys who made Texas a finalist. I think a couple years from now, you know, Charlie might be able to land those guys.
Yeah, now we're going to move on a little bit here. We'd be crazy not to talk about the quarterback position. Right. All you guys mentioned it in some way or another. Kai Loxley, the former Florida State quarterback commit or athlete, as many of the recruiting analysts are calling him, flipped his commitment from Florida State to Texas. He's going to be on campus in June, joining the Texas roster, going to be that 3rd scholarship quarterback. Guys, what does Kai Loxley add to this class? Because he's a guy that can come in and play right away. And just overall, what's the current state of the quarterback position for Texas?
Well, I'll start with Loxley here. I think that he's somebody that at the very least brings athleticism to the position, somebody who could fit an up-tempo kind of offense that lets the quarterback run around. He's tall, 6'4". You like to see your quarterbacks have a little size, be able to see over that line, and he can throw the ball downfield. Now, he's played in the state of Baltimore, so we don't really know what he's going to do against Texas-like competition, right? And some of his throws on his tape could use a little more zip, I think. But at the very least, he brings competition. That's a big deal. Tyrone Swoops did not quite get the job done last year. I think that might be a bit of an understatement. Gerard Hurd, you know, he wasn't question mark. It's a question mark. He wasn't able to beat out Swoops in practice last year. He could be the starter this year. But now you have a 3rd guy, a 4-star, somebody who's at least talented that could possibly narrow that gap a little bit and maybe make some noise in that starting competition.
All right, Reese, Harry, what's your take on the quarterback position for Texas?
I mean, the state of the quarterback position is a toss-up, just like it was a month or 2 ago. I don't think anything really has changed. I think Kai, you know, will give some good competition to Tyrone and Gerard, and we'll see. You know, day one against Notre Dame, I don't know who will be starting, but I wouldn't be shocked if it's any one of those 3. You know, you might like to see Gerard, who was highly touted out of high school, maybe get a shot after Tyrone really struggled against TCU and Arkansas. And Pete mentioned it. Kai's athletic. He's tall. I think he could throw the ball. I don't think high school football in Baltimore is that bad. So I think he'll be okay in the state of Texas.
Well, we're certainly on the train, Jeff. Just like you're the conductor, so we appreciate you taking us along for the ride here. And as far as Loxley is concerned, I really like the guy. Was sort of transferred positions into wide receiver in the Under Armour All-American game, and really impressed as one of the best wide receivers out there. So I think potentially that could be a move down the road. But Charlie said today even he's coming here to play quarterback, and that's something really Texas needs. Look. Let's be honest here. Texas had a pretty solid defense at stretches of games last year, but still couldn't find a way to keep competing games because of lack of quarterback play. Look at 2010, the 5-7 season that really got Mac Brown on the wrong track. Texas had the 5th overall defense, but no quarterback play. Until Texas finds their quarterback, they're not going anywhere. Don't even talk about college football playoff. Don't talk about Big 12 title until they find their quarterback, and that's, like you guys mentioned, the biggest question mark of the program, and it has been for the last 5 years.
So it seems like none of us are really sold on, obviously, Tyrone Suits. Pete, you mentioned it.
Sure.
Didn't play well last year. Gerard Hurd, question mark. What I think is interesting about Gerard Hurd, though, is people were pretty hyped about him last year, kind of like they were hyped about Kyler Murray this year. He was a top-rated dual-threat quarterback. The guy comes into a pro-style offense, not an early enrollee. Now not getting a lot of love. People are kind of forgetting about how pumped up they were about him before. But so we can all agree, question mark at all 3 quarterback spots come June when Kyle Loxley arrives on campus. Could we maybe see Charlie Strong and Sean Watson go out and try and get a JUCO quarterback, maybe a graduate transfer? There's a couple options available there. Think we might see that?
I don't know. I mean, it doesn't really seem like the Texas way. Something we haven't seen that much. I think Hurd might be your guy next year, though. You mentioned that he was pretty well recruited and he was pretty hyped coming in. I think they'll at least see what he can do before they press the panic button. Kyle Loxley's a nice backup option. He's definitely raw, and not in the way that we like to say, like raw. He's a little raw.
Like the kids like to say.
He's like the kids say. He's unpolished, but I think Hurd's the guy for now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fellas,
Jeff,
what do you think over
I
there?
don't want to rule it out, though. I know Texas hasn't really done it a whole lot in the past, but you've got guys in situations, perhaps like an Everett Golson at Notre Dame. This is a stretch, but perhaps like Braxton Miller at Ohio State, that if they come to Texas, everyone's perspective about the Longhorn football program has entirely changed. So I certainly don't think you can rule it out. And I think Charlie Strong and this coaching staff are going to be going hard right after a JUCO transfer, that they can get in here not only to provide competition, but just simply depth for the spring heading into the fall.
Hey, Pete, it may not be the Texas way, but you know what is the Texas way? Winning. And Charlie will take in any quarterback that can get that done. If Braxton Miller calls Charlie on the phone, Charlie's going to say, hey, come hop on board the train.
You need to
and
give
let's
us
ride.
some pregame speeches or some pre-show speeches.
Well, guys, the train is just getting rolling here.
Oh, boy.
Just leaving the station here on College Press Box's National Signing Day special. We'll be right back with a little bit more in just a few minutes. Back here on College Press Box's special signing day show, Jeff Barker, Peter Sblendorio, Reese Miller, Harry Hoffman joining you tonight. Now, guys, we were positive the first 2 segments of the show. Now we're going to talk about some of the guys that we think Texas missed out on. Obviously, a couple of 5-stars they were hoping for today. Peter, we'll start with you. Who do you think's the biggest guy that Texas really could have used, and you're kind of disappointed to see that didn't land for him?
Look, this might be the optimist in me. I thought Kyler Murray was the guy, and I know that a lot of people didn't really ever totally expect him to come around. He was committed to Texas A&M since his birth, or since before the iPad, or any other, prehistoric time period, I guess. But this would be the guy that could change the program, I think, immediately. You couple that defense with this guy who's a legit playmaker, undefeated in high school in the state of Texas, 3 state championships, big arm, can run around. I just think that he's somebody that would be able to turn this program around maybe day one, honestly. So he's the guy I think you're most disappointed that you weren't able to get.
Well, he probably could have gotten the train rolling a little bit further, because we thought we were going to see maybe Kyler Murray flip. Like you mentioned, he was at going to A&M all along, kind of flirted with Texas a little bit. Thought maybe if he flipped his commitment to UT, they were going to get some more guys.
It was like LeBron and Wade and Bosch and all those guys, and then now it just didn't happen. I guess they're going to A&M instead. But we're the Dallas Mavericks here at the University of Texas, so let's bring back 2011.
All right, Reese, Harry, we're going to go to you guys, the eternal optimists on the other side.
I don't think Kyler Murray's. I think he's really overrated. Undersized. I know Texas football is good, but let's not get too excited about a high school record. All right, it's what you do in college. So. I don't think, I really like Dalen Mack, really a big defensive tackle. This class, the back seven's really, really solid. Thought they could have used something, on that defensive line. And losing Zach Gentry again, a quarterback who could come in and compete, pocket passer. Obviously, Jim Harbaugh liked him, and Jim has coached some real good quarterbacks. So those two guys, I think we really missed out on. And of course, So Jamabro. That's pretty much it.
So you're telling me you're not impressed by 79 touchdowns in one season, 43-0, and three state titles?
It's real good. Like, it's real good.
Okay, no, I'm just clarifying. That's fine.
Well, Harry was saying that all Texas does is win. So that's all the kid Kyler Murray's done.
Making a reference to what Peter said, if Texas wins any championships like the Mavericks or like the Heat, I think they'll be just fine, even without the star power. Look, I don't think Kyler Murray was ever seriously. Look, it's a victory for Charlie Strong to get him and DeMarcus Lodge on campus when they thought these guys were locked up and wouldn't even say the words Bevo, okay? So it's a victory to even get these guys on campus. I sort of thought they were coming here for a little bit, but certainly you can't depend on that because it's so late in the game. So a guy that I really think they missed out on, and this goes back to sort of that middle of December time, is offensive tackle Toby Weathersby. I thought this was a guy that had a chance to make an impact really right away, especially with how much Texas has struggled in the offensive line over the past couple of seasons with all the youth. I thought this was a guy that you could really beef up, work with Joe Wickline, and come in and possibly start in the 2015 season. So that's my biggest loss personally. I don't count Dalen Mack. I don't count Kyler Murray as much, even so because I feel like Texas got in too late, and the conversation stemmed too late with these guys. DeAndre Baker, the same direction, where you didn't really hear about Texas being in the possible recruitment until maybe in the past couple weeks.
Yeah, no, I'm going to say one guy that you guys didn't really mention too much. I think it was probably the longest shot, so that's probably why you guys didn't mention it. But I'm going to say DeMarcus Lodge.
Yeah.
I looked at his tape, really liked him, big receiver. Love those receivers that can go up, use the size advantage that they have, and go up and really get the ball at its highest point. Lodge is a guy that could do that. I know Texas is pretty deep at receiver right now, at least kind of stockpiled with young talent. But would have liked to see them get Lodge. Dalen Mack on the defensive line would have been good to see replace Malcolm Brown. Texas will be a little bit thin at that position. We're going to bring the positive energy back for a little bit now, guys. We're going to talk about recruit that you're most excited to see on the 40 acres plan for UT. Peter?
Yeah, for me, it goes back to Jefferson, the 1 5-star guy, the guy who seemed the most excited to play at Texas, right? He was the guy who was tweeting at everybody, every recruit, trying to get them all to commit to Texas. He seems very excited to play. Like I said earlier in the prior segment, he's very, very impressive so far. He's been impressing a lot at practice. He's big. He can stop the run. He can get to the quarterback. He's fast. I mean, this guy is just a legit talent. I think he's the most bust-proof guy on here, and I think that he has a chance to be the leader of the Texas defense as soon as 2 seasons from now.
Well, and Charlie Strong, who's a defensive coordinator at Florida for a little while under Urban Meyer, actually compared Malik Jefferson and the kind of charisma that he brings and the way people, his leadership abilities, the way people really follow and rally around him, to Tim Tebow.
That's high praise.
Yeah, high praise. Not necessarily sure if he got as many people to rally around him as our guy Tebow did.
Right.
But he definitely kind of got things going for Texas. Was that first and only 5-star in their class. So I'm definitely excited to see him get back on campus too. But let's go over to the other side. Let's see what Reese and Harry think. Guy you're most excited to see.
Yeah, well, I'd be really excited to see a Tim Tebow reincarnation in burnt orange too, righty or lefty, or Chris Leak, that'd be fine too. Guy in 2015 I'm most excited for, it's got to be Deshaun Elliott. To me, Dylan Haynes is a great story, but at the University of Texas, he really struggled at times last year, and I thought was a liability on the back end of that Texas defense. I think Deshaun Elliott from the 4-star recruit is a guy that if he works well enough in the spring through fall camp, he has a chance to take over and start next season. So that's a guy I'm really looking for to take the next step and solidify the back end of that defense. Also, Chris Warren is just signed today, apparently off of a coin flip, it was between Texas and Washington. So I guess Texas got a little lucky in that direction. I think Warren's a guy, kind of almost a bigger Malcolm Brown. I know I used that comparison a little bit earlier, but a real bruiser, and I think the best running back in the class and a guy that should compete for playing time right away.
All right, Harry, let's hear from you.
I'm excited to see John Burt, with the loss of John Harrison and Jack Shipp. I think this is a guy 6'3", 180 who can come in and maybe get the job done as a true freshman. Watching him in the Under Armour All-American game, he had some real good catches against top talent in the secondary. So, I think he can come in and get the job done and maybe take on that role as potentially a future great Texas wideout.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see, Reese mentioned it, Chris Warren. He's a big back. I think he's a guy that's physical enough He's got that physical build where he can come in right away. Nice downhill runner, north-south. Not going to mess around, dance east-west. He's going to hit the hole, run hard. I think it could be a good compliment to Jonathan Gray. Jonathan Gray could be a good mentor for him, and then we could really see him kind of become, an every down feature back for Texas. And then also Kai Loxley, just because of the question marks at the quarterback position. Like to see if Texas is going to end up moving him to receiver, if he can really develop into a better passer at the college level. So interested to see that. But guys, now before we sign off, we're going to take a step back a little bit here. We're going to talk about just the entire recruiting landscape as a whole, just kind of how that's come about, players announcing, recruiting each other on Twitter, interacting with fans, coaches, just the entire social media aspect of recruiting. So for that, we're going to go to our TSTV social media coordinator. That's Harry Hoffman over there. Harry, what are your thoughts on this? I know you're a guy that follows recruiting a lot, and especially on social media.
Well, Charlie said today, I don't know if he was joking, but he said social media will be the downfall of society. I think he's right. A lot of fans across the country tweet at these recruits, say certain things that might try to sway a recruit one way or another, and it really gets in their head. And so, if I was a recruit, I'd try to stay away from that, talk with my family and friends, but a lot just get involved with the social media hype and everybody, wanting them to go to their school. So I think it's trouble, especially with reports leaking and kids not getting to commit the way they want to. So, I think it spells trouble for years to come.
Yeah, it's interesting we bring this up on National Unfollow Day, where every recruit has been followed by every fan base. If they don't commit to that school, they lose 30,000 followers.
Yeah.
It's interesting because these young kids really sway the decisions in the minds of so many different people and impact thousands of people. And so you have these different fan bases trying to get after these guys and trying to sway their opinion. So it's just entirely different than maybe 5, even 10 years ago, And so I don't know if it's bad or good for recruiting landscape. I know it's incredibly hard to follow. It's exhausting. I'm ready for some sleep tonight. I've been all over the Twitter waves and the message boards. So from my perspective, I'm ready for bed.
All right, Peter, real quick, what do you think?
I kind of like it, honestly. It's fun. Now I know a lot more people that, may not have known prior seasons. I think this allows people to get to know the recruits and kind of follow what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Playing a little devil's advocate there to what
why
our
not?
guys in this
Why
side are
not?
saying.
Yeah.
Shocker.
Well, guys, that's all the time we have for you tonight. Peter, thank you for joining me up here at the desk. Fellows over there on the other side of the studio, Reese Miller, Harry Hoffman, thanks for joining us. Okay, well, that's all the time we have for you guys tonight. Thanks for tuning into our special College Press Box Signing Day special. Next week, we'll be back here, same place, same time, with our normally scheduled College Crossfire program. For everyone in the studio, Master Control, Peter, Harry, Reese, myself, we'll see you next week.